What if I told you that there actually is a way to time the real estate market? If you're thinking of selling your home this year, you've probably been told that spring is the best time to list because that's been the conventional wisdom in real estate for decades. And honestly, I don't blame anyone for believing it because it makes perfect intuitive sense. The flowers are blooming, buyers are out, the market's heating up. But what if I told you that the data, 10 years of actual sales data from our market, tells a completely different story? What if the reason that your neighbor's house sat on the market for 3 months last spring wasn't because of the home itself, but because of when they actually listed it? Today I'm going to show you exactly what happens to inventory, to pricing and competition month by month, and why the best time to sell might not be when you think. I'm also going to talk about a question we get every single week right now, which is, should I sell first or should I buy first? Because in this market, that decision matters more than ever. So let's get into it. So here's the thing about spring. Every year, the same pattern plays out. Sellers start getting ready in January and February. They meet with their agent. They start prepping the house. And then somewhere around March and April, everybody hits the market at the same time. And I mean everyone. Look at this chart. We've taken 10 years of data from the Hamilton Burlington market. So that's 2016 all the way through to January 2026. And we averaged out what happens to active listings every single month. In December and January, you're looking at around 1,300 to 1,600 active listings on average. That's the quietest that the market gets, but by the time May and June roll around, that number balloons to nearly 3,000. And in 2025, we saw it climb past 4,500, which is nuts. So that's over 120% more competition. Just let that sink in for a second. When you listen this spring, you're not entering a hot market, okay? You're entering a crowded market. And there's a massive difference between the two. A hot market means strong demand with limited supply. And a crowded market means you're just one of 1,000 options that a buyer can choose from. And you've got buyers floating around with decision fatigue. And when it's crowded, especially in a tougher market like we've been in, it becomes this war of attrition. Your house goes up, then your neighbor's house goes up, the house around the corner goes up, and suddenly instead of standing out, you guys are all competing for the same pool of buyers. When homes start sitting, prices start slipping. One seller drops their price, then another follows, and before you know it, it's just this crazy race to the bottom. Now, the immediate pushback I get when I say this is, yeah, but aren't prices higher in spring? Isn't that when buyers are willing to pay more money because you can see the pool and all this good stuff? And that's a fair question, but let's look at the actual numbers because I've looked into this and studied this for years. When we average out sale prices month by month, over the past decade, February actually comes out on top. The last month anybody would think with the highest average sale price. Not May, not June, February. And January, December, and March are all right up there. Why? Because when there are fewer homes on the market, buyers just have fewer options. Fewer options means less negotiating power for the buyer and more leverage for you as a seller. Buyers who are looking in the winter months, they are serious, especially in Ontario because it's cold and it takes a lot of effort to get out to see these homes. They are not tire kickers. They need a house. They're motivated, they're often pre-approved, and they're ready to make strong offers because they know that the competition for good homes is fierce when the supply is tight. In the summer, even though there are more buyers, there are proportionately even more sellers year after year. That's the part that people miss. The supply-demand ratio actually works against you in these peak months. And this brings me to a question that we hear almost every single week right now. Should I sell my home first or should I buy first? I know this one creates a lot of anxiety because it's an anxiety-inducing thing. Nobody wants to sell their home and feel like they're homeless. They've got nowhere to go. Nobody wants to be stuck making 2 mortgage payments either. It's just a stressful decision either way. But right now in this market, the great news is the answer is pretty clear. Sell first. Get your house on the market and sell first. And here's why. When inventory is low, which as we just showed you is the case in winter and the early spring months, selling your home is the harder part of the equation. It's where the competition is tightest for you right now. You want to take advantage of that window when there are few competing listings. Once your home is sold, now you're the buyer. And guess what? By the time you're done closing on your sale and actively shopping, it's likely a month or two later and inventory is climbing. More listings are coming on the market every single week. You've got more options, you've got more negotiating power. The tables turn in your favor as a buyer in a big, big way. It's actually a beautiful position to be in because you sell when supply is tight and you buy when the supply is plentiful. Now, some people will say, well, why don't I just buy first and then include a condition of sale on my offer? That way I don't have to worry about being in between homes and I can get the best of both worlds, right? And I totally understand the appeal. On paper, it sounds like it covers you and people try to do this all the time, but I want to be straight with you, okay? In this market, a condition of sale offer is barely worth the paper that it's written on. Think about it from the seller's perspective, okay? They've got their home listed. It's been a tough market. They know how tough the market is. They've maybe been waiting weeks or months for the right offer, and now they finally got one, but it's conditional on you selling your home first. That means they're taking their home off the market, tying it up conditionally with no guarantee that your home will actually sell. And if it doesn't sell, they're back to square one. So they know that you've got to go down this road that they're already most of the way down. It's a tough gamble from the seller's perspective, and very few sellers in this market will accept that kind of risk. The ones who do will almost certainly want a significant premium for taking on that uncertainty. So even if the offer is accepted, you're probably leaving money on the table on the buy side. When you sell first, you get to come to the table as a clean buyer, no conditions. You know exactly what your budget is. You know what your closing date is. You're attractive to sellers. And in a market where inventory is growing, that gives you absolute pick of the litter. Now, I want to be honest here. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I can predict the market. Nobody can. Nobody knows exactly where prices will be 6 months from now, what interest rates will do, or what curveball the economy might throw at us. But here's what we do know, okay? The seasonal pattern is real and it repeats every single year. You can almost set your watch to it. Look at this chart, right? It's 10 years of data and the shape is almost identical every time. Inventory drops in the fall and winter, bottoms out around December and January, then climbs all the way through the summer. So you can't time the exact peak price or the exact bottom of inventory, but you can absolutely choose not to follow the pack. You can choose to list when your home has the best chance of standing out rather than getting lost in the crowd like everybody else. And that's not timing the market, it's just being strategic. So here's the practical takeaway from all this. If you've decided the best time for you to list is, say, March, you can't start the process in March, okay? You need to start now. Even if your home is in perfect condition, freshly painted, decluttered, landscaped, ready to go, there is still a 2-3 week ramp up minimum period before you can actually go to market. And this is best case scenario. And here's what that ramp up looks like, okay? First off, you need to sit down with your agent, put together pricing strategy, come up with a marketing plan. That's not something that you want to rush. This is the biggest asset that you probably own. And your agent needs to walk through the house, assess the competition, look at recent comparables, figure out the right positioning for your property in the current market. And then there's staging. So even if it's a light stage or just a consultation, it takes coordination with the stager who may be booked with other properties, and the best ones book up fast. After that, you've got professional photography, videography, possibly drone footage. Your marketing materials need to be designed, feature sheets, digital ads, the social media campaign. All this has to be published, sent to a printer. And this takes time to do it properly. Does not want to be rushed. If there's any work to be done on the house, painting, minor repairs, decluttering, that just pushes the time back further and further and further. So the rule of thumb is this: whatever month you want to be on the market, start the conversation with your agent 2 to 3 months before that. If you want to be listed in March, capitalize on the low inventory, you should be sitting down with your agent at least in January. If you want to be listed in the fall to catch low inventory windows, start the conversation in the summer. The worst thing that you can do is wait until you're ready to list and then find out you're at least 3 weeks away from being prepared and you've got all this pressure to get things up and running, ready to go. Because those 3 weeks, they might be the difference between when the listing inventory is low and listing when everyone else has already flooded the market. So let's bring it all together, okay? You can't perfectly time the market, but you can look at the data and make a smarter decision about when to list. The seasonal pattern, it's super clear. Inventory is lowest in the winter, highest in the summer. Prices hold strong and often peak when there's less competition. And if you're debating when to sell first or buy first, in this market, selling first, it just puts you in the strongest possible position on both sides of the transaction. Don't follow the crowd into spring because that's what everybody else does. Be strategic, look at the numbers, and whatever you do, start the process earlier than you think you need to. The preparation window, it is real and it matters. Okay, I hope that this was helpful. If you found value in this, drop a like and subscribe. We put out content like this regularly to help you make a better real estate decision. And if you've got questions about your specific situation, just leave it in the comments. We read every single one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next one.